Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Heron's Haven podcast here on the SoFlo Soccer channel. My name is Matt, your host, as always. I'm starting a little bit early today, um, or earlier than I scheduled. But Javier Mascherano, El Jefecito, one of the Argentine legends, one of the Barca legends, has been announced officially by Inter Miami today, this morning, as the new head coach of Inter Miami. Tata Martino was literally, you know, released of his duties. He left the club for personal reasons, whatever. We all know that he was essentially kicked out the door. But essentially he was kicked out the door like literally not that long ago. Probably what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, a couple of days ago. And now literally not even 48 hours later, Javier Mascherano has been confirmed to be the next coach for Inter Miami. Um, there was a lot of rumors. We've already had a stream about who the next coach could be, should be. Um, is it the right move to let go of Tata Martino? We're gonna get into everything. We're gonna talk about who Mascherano is. We're gonna see if he's an actual, appropriate fit for this club. See what he can do, what he might do, what he can't do, and just things like that. But this move is interesting, right? To me, let's just get to that first. This move is interesting to me. What do I think about it? Personally, like I genuinely have no idea how this is going to turn out. And I would like if somebody says to you they know exactly how this is going to turn out, they're absolutely lying to you because Mascherano as great of a player he was for Barcelona, for Liverpool, I believe he played in River as well. And he for as great of a player he was for the national team, having the second most caps, I believe, in history, behind Messi. He has no coaching experience, and I think let's just get that out of the way, right? We know he managed the Olympic team for the U23s, for the U20s for the Argentina national team, but he has no genuine professional top level coaching experience. Um, but regardless, Inter Miami has signed him and wanted him to be his coach or our coach anyway. Now that raises questions because it's like, well, why are you hiring a coach that has no coaching experience at club level at the a pretty high level? Um, and a lot of people turn to, well, because Messi's running the club, because Messi just wants to feel comfortable. Messi wants to bring in all his friends, and honestly, I agree with them. I agree with the people who say that. People who believe that Javier Mascherano is the new Inter Miami head coach because Messi wants him to, they're 100% correct. And I think anybody who doesn't believe that is kind of lying to themselves. But I'm not saying that Mascherano doesn't deserve it. There are a lot of head coaches, I feel like, out there who are probably maybe a little bit more deserving of the position because of their maybe experience, especially there are managers in the Argentinian league, even in South America or even in Europe and other places in the MLS that probably deserve a spot, or an opportunity to coach or manage a team like Inter Miami, but um, they give it to Mascherano. But anyway, we're gonna go. The club has come out with some things about Mascherano. Here's a picture of him and and the post that Inter Miami made earlier today. But speaking I'm trying to think on both sides here, right? Because when you think on both sides, you kind of get a better opinion or kind of get a better idea of what to expect. Um, I don't know what to expect, like I said, from Javier Mascherano, but from what I can predict, that what Mascherano can bring to this team is a couple of things, right? And this is just guessing, predictions, just kind of using past knowledge and from what I've seen from what the very little amount of coaching or game time that I have seen of Mascherano when he was with the Argentinian national team coaching. I'm just going to use that as to what he can bring to our club. Um, but I mean, since he's managed teams like the U23s for Argentina and the U20s, he's been to the Olympics. Since he's had that experience, I feel like he can be a pretty good candidate to be sort of like a mentor, or just a good teacher, a good coach to our younger players. We do have quite a few players in our team that are below the age of like 23, 24. So putting Javier Mascherano next to players like Facundo Farias, next to players like Redondo, next to players like Aviles, next to players like Benja Cremachi, you know, next to those kinds of players, young players who have a lot of potential. No, even no, and players like Noah Allen, um, it could be extremely, extremely promising. I think that even though that obviously Mascherano hasn't had a lot of success with, in his very little time of coaching, I think that he probably can find success here at Inter Miami with these youth players. Um, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but I think it's a possibility. I think if he can get through, because he worked with a lot of nice young talent in Argentina, and I think if he can try to unlock that young talent here at Inter Miami and get something out of these younger players more than what they've already been doing, like from players like Noah Allen and Yannick Bright, who we've seen perform really well on the field. If he can unlock the players like Redondo to be to further how do you say it, like reveal his potential, or players like Facundo Farias, who's coming back from a long-term injury, kind of things like that. I think he could put the club in pretty good shape, because we're not only going to be relying on Messi, Suarez, Jordi, and Sergio Busquets in terms of scoring goals, creating goals, opportunities, progressive passes. We can now start to build more on the younger players and get them involved, or more involved in play, get them developing well, and be more part of the squad. Now, I think what another good thing that Mascherano could do is that maybe not on the field or tactically, but I think that he could probably bring in a lot of younger players, like staying with that younger player youth category. He could probably bring in a lot of younger Argentinian style players. Not that we haven't been already doing that, but I feel like since he knows players, especially from the national team, from the U20s and the U23s, we could probably get some of those players over here. Maybe not for maybe if they don't play in the first team, we can get them for the second team, have them develop, and then bring them up later on, and then have them as like a homegrown player at some point. That could be really good for us. And I think just overall, just Mascherano was a really good player, guys. Like he was a really, really good player, and he's a pretty short guy. He was a CDM, played center back, and he could really, his like awareness, his knowledge of the game, his understanding of the game itself, I think could really unlock um just certain mental attributes from these players. I mean, young or old. I mean, obviously not from players like Messi, Suarez, Busi, and Jordi, but the younger players, or players that haven't competed at the higher level. He has that high level knowledge as a player, and I think he can bring that knowledge to um to our guys, and I think it's gonna be really good. I honestly, I genuinely have. I'm staying positive about this because this kind of is a shot in the dark. We don't know how good this is, a good of a move this really is. And I see you guys typing in the chat, and I'll get to you guys as soon as I finish this thought. We don't know, in my opinion. I don't know how good of a move this actually is, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is a fantastic move, that Mascherano is the answer to our prayers, that he's better than Tata Martino. I'm not saying that at all, but I am being rather optimistic about Mascherano. Um, I understand that not every good player uh, can be a good coach, but I still want to. I mean, we still have to back him. We still have to be rather confident, just like how we were confident with Tata Martino when he first took over Inter Miami. We were optimistic. We were hopeful, and I want to feel the same way about Mascherano. But let me know what you guys think right now in the comments down below, and then we'll talk about him. And do you guys think it's a good move? Do you think you have preferred Tata Martino? Would you have preferred somebody else? I know a lot of people expected like Xavi. He was probably one of the favorites to probably take the job because of his connections with Messi and the Barca guys. But what do you guys think of this? We have number 10 soccer saying it's Mascherano is a pretty good choice, though Xavi would have been pretty nice. If he comes in with better defenders, I'm all in, says Brad. I mean, for somebody who was defensive minded or who played at center back, he could probably teach Aviles a thing or two, right? Like 100%. I think Mascherano could teach these defenders. He could bring in defenders, right? Because we're gonna need to for this 2025 season. He could probably teach them a thing or two. Um, which honestly I wouldn't mind if that ends up working out. I'm not confident for next year, says Skrilla. Skrilla has zero hope for Mascherano as the head coach, not even giving it a shot before it starts. Feels like Messi is the coach, sports director, and owner right now. Well, you do have to understand. I mean, I'm pretty sure like he is like not even just like as jokes. Like I'm pretty sure he like is a shareholder of Inter Miami. So I feel like he technically is part owner of Inter Miami, and so and not only that, but Jorge Mas and the brother, like the Mas brothers and David Beckham, like they really want to keep Messi because his contract, he only signed a contract until the end of 2025. So it's not guaranteed that he'll be here until 2026. So I feel like the Moss brothers and David Beckham are going to do anything possible to keep Lionel Messi at the club until 2026. And so that means doing whatever he wants. If Messi wants to bring in a coach, if he wants to bring Mascherano as a coach, bring in Mascherano as a coach. If Messi wants to bring in A, B, and C, we're gonna bring in A, B, and C. Like we're gonna do whatever Messi tells us to do. If we're gonna play with the black shirts in one game, if we're gonna play with the teal shirts another game, if we're gonna wear different color socks, if we're gonna redesign the dressing room, if we're gonna like if if Messi wants to do it, the club is going to do it so he can stay happy and want to stay at the club for another year. For when they move to their actual stadium, the big stadium, Miami Freedom Park, because that is going to really benefit the club as a franchise. Like as a franchise, that's really going to benefit them financially. In terms of ticket sales and everything is just going to double in what they're doing, or maybe even triple, probably quadruple. Everything is going to go up like 100% in terms of sales. So they're going to really want to keep him. He is the coach because Messi is not. He the coach because of Messi. It's not serious. We want to win trophies, but we hire a coach with zero experience and zero trophies. As a coach, he's won nothing, obviously, because he barely has a track record. Like he's barely been a coach. Like he hasn't been a coach for that long. Um, I feel like he's only been a coach for like a couple of years, like 2, 3 years. I feel like it's been that way. But he has a lot of personal trophies. Like he's won. I have it pulled up, but I'm gonna pull it up for you guys. But he's won like 20 something trophies, like over 20 trophies as his like as a player. Samuel P says it's a bad move, just like straight up. A good player doesn't mean you gonna be a good coach. He didn't even win any tournaments with the Argentinian, with the U23s or U20s of Argentina. Um, I mean, yeah, but like I said, he hasn't had a lot of time. And that's like the problem. That's the problem. He hasn't had a lot of experience as a coach, which is, I think, another benefit for him to come to Miami because it's the MLS. You get club coaching experience. You get to, you're coaching essentially one of the most promising franchises in the league right now. So this is a great move for Mascherano, but I understand where you're coming from because he hasn't won anything or he hasn't really done anything spectacular at the coaching side because he hasn't had a lot of time coaching. He's literally only been coaching for a short amount of time. This is the article that Inter Miami posted on their page. It says 5 things you need to know about head coach Javier Mascherano. The first topic is trophy collection. So he says his nickname is El Jefecito, and now he's El Jefe as the manager. He's won 21 club titles, one with River Plate, one with the Corinthians, a couple of with Barcelona, a lot with Barcelona. He's won some national titles in the Olympics, with the U20s. He's have individual accolades as well. So he has a lot of trophies to himself. Experience at the highest levels of the game. With vast experience at the high levels of the game under his belt, he is he has a storied club career. Played in the top leagues. He donned the jerseys of some of the most iconic sides, including Argentina Giants, River Plate, Corinthians, Liverpool, Barcelona. He's racked up nearly 700. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. He's gonna link up with Messi and all that. He's the second only player to club captain Messi in terms of all-time appearances. Mascherano's previous work with youth players and managing at important international competitions will be vital to continue producing players through the club's development pathway that can have an impact on the first team. Notably, he's worked with several of Inter Miami's rising stars at different stages during his time at the helm of the Argentina U20s and Olympic national team. El Toto Aviles, he was part of the Argentina roster for the U20s World Cup in 2023. Benja Cremachi, Facundo Farias, and Federico Redondo. With Argentina's youth sides, El Jefe coached at several major international tournaments, including the 2024 Olympic Games. He also managed sides of the U20 World Cup, South American Games in 2022, U20 South American Championship in 23, and the CONMEBOL pre-Olympic tournament in 24. So, like I said, he's only coached for about 2 years. He's only coached for about 2 years, and it's not a lot of time. Next year is going to be a disaster, says the GOAT. Bro, as long as Mascherano makes simple, sensible decisions, the team will be fine. Ash, I saw your comment on my post actually earlier. I don't remember if I liked it or not, but um, I feel like Mascherano is just he should be in theory a smarter person than Tata Martino. I know Tata Martino has a lot of coaching experience, and he's won titles in the past, and he's managed at the highest levels. But I feel that like there was a lot of things that the club and especially the fans just did not agree with when it came to just his decision making on the field. Whether that was substitutions, whether that was certain tactics or starting players over others. I think Mascherano is the opposite of that. I think like he can make the right choices, and I think that he can like cook something up with this team, with the Fantastic Four and the younger players. Like I said, I'm being very optimistic about this because this is a huge shot in the dark. Like it's just a massive, massive shot in the dark. Because now when you the problem is the only I feel like the only problem, or I should say the other problem, but one of the problems that I have with this move with Mascherano coming is the expectations, right? And I forget who said it. I don't know if it was Brad, or somebody said this. No, Thomas said this. Thomas said it right here. The expectations. That's the problem that I have. Because when you come to a club like Inter Miami now, with players like Messi, Suarez, Jordi, and Bushi, we are one of the most promising teams in the league. We were the best team in the league on paper last year or this last season, and now that we have failed to win MLS Cup and got knocked out in the first round by the lowest seeded team in the Eastern Conference, and a team that only qualified for playoffs by a wild card game, we have exceptionally high expectations for next season. We're going to want to win something major, not the supporter shield. Not saying it's not major, but we prefer to win the MLS Cup. Now, MLS Cup and the Eastern Conference title are the main 100% priorities. Like there's no exceptions to not winning these tournaments. Because I feel like if we don't win them now, we're just not going to win them at all. Like that's because we were literally the worst team in the league last year. And now that we had Messi and all these players, we should have been like almost guaranteed to win the whole thing. But now that you bring in Javier Mascherano, a person that has almost no coaching experience, he does have the coaching experience he does have is really good, like because he's coached at these major youth tournaments for national teams, which is good. That's a really good experience to have. But in terms of winning anything, in terms of the professional level and managing an actual team on the sidelines and winning as a coach, we don't have any. So I feel like we're going in with high expectations into this 2025 season with a coach who's barely been in the game for 2 years. Now, the counter argument to that is that, in theory, Mascherano has been literally coaching his entire life with Barcelona, with Liverpool, with River, well, maybe not with River. But when he got older, he became more of a leader and took upon a leader role, uh, which is kind of like a coach. But I don't know, man. And I don't even know what team this guy's bringing in because he's gonna have to bring in a whole new like coaching staff and things like that. So I don't know, man. Like it's very it's. I feel like this could be a good thing, but this could also be like this could either hurt us or help us. I feel like there's no kind of in between. So who's leaving? They can't just replace the coach and expect success with our current squad. So obviously there's going to be a lot of changes being made. A lot of players are going to go, a lot of players are going to stay, or some players are going to go, some players are going to stay. We're going to bring in some new players. We have a lot of loan players, and we already discussed this in another stream, but I should probably bring it up again some point either later this week or next week. But like Freire is on loan. I'm pretty sure. Well, obviously Chelo is on loan. Matias Rojas, I believe his contract expires at the end of this year. I don't think it's next year. I think it's this year. Jordi Alba and his contract expires at the end of this year. So there needs to be moves. Like moves need to be made. Don't like, and who is Mascherano going to be bringing in? Like, who does he want to bring in? I feel like the only players he could really bring in are youth players because that's all he knows. Like that's all he's coached with and been around. I mean, obviously they can bring in some big names or even scout some of the MLS players, and we can probably bring in some local guys. But I just don't know. Like I don't know the answer to that. Mascherano doesn't have time to learn. We have to win now, and this is a risky move, says the GOAT. A better squad is much more important than the coach. Messi and Busquets can run the team on their own. That's the problem. We have to win next year, and we don't have time to work things out. Mike V starts the out movement, and now me, the Mascherano out movement. Skrilla is the president of the Mascherano out club. I wonder if Mike V I wonder what Mike V is thinking to himself right now in terms of Mascherano being the new coach for Inter Miami. I don't know. He probably doesn't agree with it. The only concern is he likes to run a 4-2-3-1 that requires coordination and football IQ. We don't have the smartest players outside of the Barca boys and Bright. But you can coach them. You can train them in the preseason. You can like that. That's definitely if you're a professional player and you are coachable, you can learn what the top guys know because that takes practice. That just takes a lot of practice and experience what they know. So I feel like Mascherano can, like I said, he can unlock something in some of these guys if they really, really wanted to. I feel like players like Noah Allen, Yannick Bright, Federico Redondo, Benja Cremachi, um, who else? Ian Fraser, unfortunately injured. Facundo Farias. I feel like these players, even with like Ruiz and things like that, like I feel like these players can be unlocked next year with proper coaching and training from obviously the veterans, the Barca boys, and with Javier Mascherano and his staff. Mascherano has coached 50 games, 28 were friendlies. Yikes. That's a crazy stat, dude. That is an actually insane stat. There's a reason why they didn't put that in their story, because they knew that was a low ass number. But I don't know, guys. I need like okay, hold on. Daniel said something. Daniel Rodriguez says, "I'm so skeptical about Mascherano. He's hated in Argentina due to the poor performances of the U20 and U23 national teams. He's coached amazing talent on those teams and could never make them play decently." I'm not going to sit here and act like I've analyzed his coaching and his methods for the youth teams like like to a T. Like I've watched every minute and I broke everything down. I probably could have, to be honest, especially earlier today. But sorry, that was somebody revving their motorcycle. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know his tactics like the back of my hand. But I did watch the Olympics, and I did watch some of his games for other tournaments, and I wasn't necessarily impressed. Like you could say, I wasn't necessarily impressed with what I saw with the youth guys. I thought we have really good players. Like we have really good U23s and U20s players. But I felt like there was just a couple of things. I don't know. Something was missing, and that could have been Mascherano. I don't know. I can I like I said, guys. I'm not here to tell you. Like I'm not here. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know the answer. I'm just trying to be extremely, extremely optimistic, because everybody's against this. Everybody's against this move, and I'm really trying not to be against this move because it's Mascherano. He was a really good player. I mean, like, he has the potential to be a good coach and lead this team and the younger players to, play promising football. And with the help of Messi and the Barca boys, especially with Messi and Busi and Alba, I feel like they can do it. But the issue is, I don't know if this is a good move to win MLS Cup with. Like, I don't know if Javier Mascherano is the guy to lead this team to win MLS Cup and to win an Eastern Conference title. I just we like I just don't know if he's that guy. And I'm leaning towards no. Like, no, he might not be that guy. Um People was happy when Tata left, but now they're not. One plus is that younger players should get more playing time, which should help their development. I feel like we should. Ash, I think we're going to see a lot of young players probably in 2025, which is a good thing, but it's only a good thing if they actually play good. Um, and what Thomas said, yeah, people were very quick to say Tata out. I know there were moments where I was like kind of Tata out, but only because I was frustrated with the team's performances and like what he would do on the field. And honestly, but like saying completely Tata out and bringing in somebody like Mascherano, I feel like that's not it. I really hope Mascherano can prove me wrong, and I really hope I eat my own words. And I really hope he can prove everybody wrong. But it doesn't look good when somebody like Tata Martino, who is an experienced coach, leaves for personal reasons, essentially forced out of the club, and then have somebody like Mascherano come in with no experience on the coaching level, and then now is going to be expected by everybody to win everything. I don't know. He does have 100% knowledge of the youth player pipeline in Argentina. And screened. He coached, screened them all. I'm assuming he wanted to say. Yeah, and we've talked about that, right? Like he has that knowledge and he knows how to maybe control or coach youth players, which I think is going to be not I think it is going to be very very useful for us. It's just I just that's not the issue though. Like the issue is Mascherano the coach to win us MLS Cup? Like can Mascherano help Inter Miami win MLS Cup this next year, this coming season? And I feel like the answer is no. I feel like the answer is no. People wanted Tata out and was expecting Zidane, Pep, Klopp to come. Yeah, no, they. I feel like people were kind of expecting too much. I mean, like we talked about it last time about who could be the coach, and people were talking about like De Serbi. People were like Gallardo. People were like Zidane, and I'm like, I highly doubt any of those guys are coming. I thought the most realistic coach was Xavi. Like that is the most realistic option that I thought Inter Miami had. And I think there were rumors that Mascherano was gonna do it, but I genuinely thought that it was just gonna be Xavi. Like I really thought Xavi was gonna be our coach, which we would have been having a completely different discussion if Xavi was our coach. But hey, um, he's not. Mascherano is, and yeah, Messi is being used as an economic toy. I feel like the Argentinian Soccer Federation are trying to convince Messi to play in the 2026 World Cup, so they send him Mascherano. Um, that's kind of backwards. Well, Messi is always going to be used for money, no matter where he goes. That's all people really care about him for, is that he's a money maker. That's all these businesses care about. Um, but Inter Miami themselves, they are focused on making money, but they're also focused on keeping Messi happy and doing what Messi wants so that he can stay and be happy at the club. So that's asking Messi, like I'm pretty sure they came out in a like Jorge Mas came out in a press conference saying we asked what Messi wanted and Messi was like bring Mascherano. And like essentially like that was the conversation that happened. Where is that post? There's like a post of them like quoting shit. Okay, this is what Jorge Mas. Look, hold on, guys. This is what Jorge Mas said about the signing of Mascherano. This is the quote right here. He says, and I quote: "This job requires somebody with the experience and to be able to maximize our unique collection of talent, from our global superstars to our burgeoning homegrown players, to our young international prospects and everything in between. Javier has amassed unmatched experience in his career, from playing to the world's biggest stages to coaching at the youth international level. He has the blend of skills and experience we were looking for, and even has had direct coaching experience with Tomas Aviles, Facundo Farias, Federico Redondo, and Benjamin Cremachi. We believe Javier is an important addition to our club as we continue our quest to be among the world's elite, setting a new standard for football in North America." David Beckham says, this is what David Beckham says. David Beckham says, throughout his career as one of the world's best players and as an experienced coach, I don't know about that one, Chief, but Javier has always demonstrated what makes him great: relentless determination with the knowledge, instincts, and understanding to back it up. We were very excited to welcome him to lead our team. Raul Sanelli, who was at Barca, as we continue to aim high as an organization, I'm excited to welcome Javier and his family to our team so that we can build on this ambitious project together. Mascherano said, to be able to lead a club like Inter Miami is an honor for me and a privilege I will strive to make the most of. I was drawn to the organization's undeniable ambition and the infrastructure it has to support it. Yeah, the ambition is to make a lot of money, and the infrastructure being Barcelona's team, like the Barcelona 2010 team. Um, I'm looking forward to working with the people at Inter Miami, aka Messi, Suarez, Busi, Jordi, and maybe David Beckham, to help the club reach new heights, to give the fans more unforgettable moments. Yeah. Um Jorge Mas probably had the best quote of everybody. David Beckham was just like, yeah, he's an experienced coach. Uh like he deserves this. And then Sanelli didn't really say anything. He just kind of said, welcome to the club. And Mascherano just says, it's an honor to be here. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know. I don't know, guys. I genuinely don't know. The first time Mascherano subs 3 players at 60 minutes, I will be out tears of joy. I feel like actually it's not the only thing you care about is substitutions at the 60th minute. What's up, Busy Rebellion? Taylor Twellman said today that he heard rumors that Mascherano since September. That's insane. If that's the case, if that's the case, then Tata Martino didn't leave for personal reasons. He obviously left because he knew he was going to get replaced, despite everything he did. To be honest, if I was Tata Martino and the club, I was being forced out of the club after winning Supporter Shield and the points record, I'd be pissed too. I'd be like, bro, I would have been like, this is my first full season with this team. We've won the Supporter Shield and we made history in getting the most points in the MLS in MLS history. And yes, I understand that we didn't win, like we got knocked out of the MLS Cup. Um, but like I still like won something. I don't know. I would have been pissed to be honest. I feel like this is Phil Neville 2.0. Really? Phil Neville 2.0? Too positive. You have to elaborate on this, Thomas. You have to elaborate on that. Two positives. AZ Rebellion says he's young and he has experience with our players. Um. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, he is young. He's what 40. So he's 40. He's 40 years old. But I don't know. Like I said, this could literally go either way. This could. Two things are gonna happen. Two things are gonna happen. Either Mascherano is gonna completely pop off, or Inter Miami is going to pop off and it's going to make Mascherano look so good as a manager. Or two, Inter Miami are going to be on, like, they're going to be mid as fuck, right? Like, we're not going to be, like, riding how we did last year where we barely lost a game. We're going to be, like, we're going to be, like, in fifth place in average form. And it's not because of the coaching, but it's because of our players, like Messi, like Suarez, like Busi and Jordi. They're just gonna like perform very average because they're gonna be tired, they're gonna be sick of it, and they're just gonna start getting lazy. And they're gonna put the blame on Mascherano, and they're gonna be like, oh, because he's unexperienced, because like why did we even bring Mascherano? We should have kept Tata. Like it's stuff like that. I if I personally if I think that if Inter Miami don't do well next season, it can't be because of Mascherano. Because especially if we play somewhat similar, it has to be the players. Because like there's I don't know. I will miss the suicidal high line we played under Tata. Really? I think you're the only one that's gonna miss that, to be honest. I said Phil Neville 2.0 because Beckham picked his friend to coach the team, and Messi did the same thing with Mascherano. That's true. I honestly didn't even think about that. I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, no, you're right. I thought you meant in terms of like honestly, I kind of hope he's not the next Phil Neville because Phil Neville, I don't think like he had like a bad like spell with us. Like it just wasn't good under Phil Neville. It wasn't good. It was like pretty average, I would say, but more bad than good. We were just always losing. Anyway, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to try. I don't want to keep repeating myself, so I'll start. I'm about to wrap it up. But uh, yes, Javier Mascherano, the new head coach for Inter Miami. It's a questionable decision. It's a very controversial decision by the club in terms of his coaching experience. But listen, everybody got what they asked for. Tata Martino is no longer the head coach of Inter Miami. That's what everybody wanted. That's what they got. As a replacement, Messi wanted Javier Mascherano. He thought that Mascherano was the best decision or the best coach that could lead this team to an MLS trophy, an Eastern Conference title, and hopefully we can see that next year. This is going to be a pretty interesting preseason. We're going to see who Mascherano decides to bring in, who he decides to keep, who he decides to let go. Um, because it's all going to start now during the preseason. Everything has been if the rumors are true and Javier Mascherano was always gonna be the Inter Miami manager at this point, I feel like he should already have a plan ready in terms of bringing in players, in terms of what tactic he wants to run, in terms of where like who he's gonna let go and things like that. But anyway, yeah, I'm still gonna be optimistic about this. We all know who Mascherano is and what he potentially can bring to the club. Let's just hope that he's able to do it. But thank you guys so much for participating and tuning in to this episode of the Heron's Haven podcast here on the SoFlo Soccer channel. I'm going to see you guys probably next week. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving and you stay safe. I'm going to be working tomorrow, not on Thanksgiving Day, but tomorrow and Friday and the rest of the weekend. So I'll hopefully see you guys next week. And if we get another update, then you'll see me post on the community tab. And if it's breaking news, then I'm gonna try to squeeze in a live. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And sorry I haven't been as active as I used to be, but work has been getting really, really stressful recently. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you guys later.